Have you ever seen an illusionist?
I thought I did once, but as it turns out, he wasn't there.
Oh, Michael, you've been waiting to use that, haven't you?
A cup of coffee with my mom.
We didn't set this up ahead of time.
I
But anyway, he was so good. But that was a few weeks ago, and I've forgotten his name already. But he was really good.
that good. That's
But
another
His
great
name
plug.
disappear.
Yeah.
But I used his name in my post. I posted
Oh, yeah.
about
Let me
it.
see if I can find it.
Okay, and I used his name, and afterwards, a lot of people responded. Afterwards, he sent me what do you call that when somebody sends you something, but nobody else can see
a
it but
DM.
you?
Cease and desist.
Put
Direct
your robe
message,
together, Mrs. Rowe.
DM, people call
Yeah.
it.
Hey, can you make my robe magically close? Can you make my mom's robe close? If you can, you're hired. No, what? So
Well, anyway,
what
so-
was it, like a bus trip? The whole gang went. The whole. What was it?
Yeah, it was a bus trip here from the home. It was our first one. And it was filled. It was like 35, almost filled, 35 people on the bus. And we had lunch. It was up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And then we had the show. The show was delicious. The show was so good. It was excellent. But, I find it almost makes me angry. How can he put that woman in this box and turn around and she's in this box?
Yeah.
And he moves it around the stage. I don't get it, and I resent that he's so good at it. But anyway, he PM'd me. He messaged me afterwards.
DM'd, I think.
Direct message.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
I guess
it
PM
was
makes sense.
private.
Private message.
Oh.
But that's
You know what?
that's also Prime Minister, so it probably just needed a new.
And something postal menopause.
Oh well, there.
But anyway,
yeah.
so he,
Brett Myers is his
messaged
name,
me.
by the way.
Brett Myers, and he thanked me for my kind words, and he thanked me for coming. So wasn't that nice?
That is nice.
But the interesting thing is, he was just there in the audience with welcoming us, serving meals. He did all that stuff, and his wife did. Anyway, it was interesting. We don't get out all that much, so we're impressed by everything.
Well, good magic is very powerful. Up close magic, in particular, I think. It's just the big illusions and the girl cut in half and making the Statue of Liberty disappear and all the stuff that Copperfield has done. And that's great. But for me, it's still. I'll send you a link, and this'll. I mean, if you get upset by not being able to figure out how things are done, this guy will anger you. His name's Jason. And Chuck, I've shown you some of this stuff,
Yes.
haven't I?
Yes, he's really snarky and irreverent and just a little irritated, at his audience for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's very funny.
He doesn't.
And he's very good.
He really doesn't care what you think of him, and he makes fun of the people in the comments who offer him money to do something that can't be done, and then of course he does it. And he's rude, but he is so gifted with a deck of cards. Not since there's a documentary called Dealt, which you should also see, about a guy named Richard Turner, I think his name is, and he's blind, and he's a card mechanic. He's not a magician; he's a mechanic. And if you take a deck of cards out of a deck, you know exactly how they're arranged. And once you know how they're arranged, as long as you're controlling them, it doesn't matter how many times you shuffle or cut. You know where every card is. It's a part of, it's not a trick. It's just a part of your brain that most people can't access, and then years and years of practice. And these guys, it's just mind-boggling, Mom. They're tricks that you just, if this guy, Jason, wasn't rude and wasn't snarky, but came instead to Chuck's church, or yours, for instance, and said, I have been sent by God. I am here with good news. And to prove I am divine, I will show you some miracles. Well, I'm telling you that if you filled a room full of otherwise rational people, they would look at these manipulations with this deck of cards and conclude that he was sent from a supernatural power. He's that good.
Did you see him in person, in the flesh?
No.
Or did you see him?
Nope. I actually
Because
I
It's
saw
different in
him.
person. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's very different in person, but in some ways it's better on reels because he'll put a stopwatch next to him, right? So you can look at the watch and you can see it. It never stops moving, so he's not editing. You know, he does all kinds of things to prove it's legit. It's mind-boggling.
There's a very good show that I actually love, Peggy. I think you'd like it too. It's Penn and Teller. It's called Fool Us, where they invite magicians from all over the country and the world, in fact, to show them a trick that they can't figure out how it's done. And if you do that, you win a giant Fool Us trophy, which just has FU on there for Fool Us. But it might mean something else as well. but it's quite...
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's quite good. I'm glad you don't. It's quite good. And, I mean, they're very entertaining. And they don't tell the audience how the trick is done, but they say things that the magician knows that they know that they weren't fooled. But some of the magic that I see on that show is just mind-boggling, where you're just like, a guy's got a deck of cards, and the cards are as big as my torso, and he's manipulating like 3 cards, and they change. You know, he'll turn it around, and then it's the ace of diamonds. He turns it around again, it's the king of clubs. And you go, wait a minute, what? How does that... Where's he hiding the other king of clubs, you know, that he's switching out with the ace of diamonds? It doesn't make a lick of sense. It just, my brain goes...
Well, I thought Brett Myers was really good.
I'll bet he was.
But then I guess I'm easy to fool. So I wrote back to him and I said it was my pleasure. And by the way, my husband's sitting here, and he said that if you would like to saw me in half sometime, you're welcome to do it. I said, I'm not sure how to take that.